This podcast is brought to you by Steede Motor Group, Claregalway. For your personalised vehicle shopping experience, find out more at steedemotorgroup.ie. So delighted now to be joined by Kieran Fitzgerald to look back on the county finals over the weekend. A big congratulations to Corofin on claiming Frank Fox, to Monivea-Abbey on winning intermediate, and Menla as well for winning the junior title. All three of those sides now go forward to represent Galway in the provincial series, which will be getting underway over the next few weekends. Kieran, for you, it's Corofin winning a county title, your first time not involved. How does that feel?
Oh, great to be honest. Yeah, I my time is gone. I finished a long time ago, but look, it was super there yesterday. It was really enjoyable as a Corofin supporter. I suppose, like I was saying to you earlier, like we travelled up in hope rather than expectation. We were playing against a really fancied my Cullen team. Our team is evolving and has evolved over the last few years. We have introduced a lot of young faces. And we have lost a number of players through injury and other bits and bobs. And yeah, as a supporter now, like we have to have patience with this team, and anything was a bonus, and getting to a county final, and even getting to a county final and with this team performing really well would have been great. But to get the win and the some of the play that we had in the second half, it was really pleasing. And yeah, like yesterday evening and last night in Belclare and Corofin, it was super, and like lads have referenced it in interviews afterwards, like the buzz that it does and the lift that it gives the community is massive. And yeah, look, I'm just really delighted as a Corofin supporter that we're back on the road again, please God.
You're well and truly back now, Corofin. Even listening to a couple of the interviews, Dylan McHugh, who's talking about the hunger being back. From not, you haven't won a county title since 19. Obviously, it's the first one since 19 now. But what does that feel like as Corofin supporters or even a past player? Because this is something you were so used to, and you don't really get used to it until it's taken off you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was Dylan that spoke about, we have been competing. We got to, like, we were narrowly beaten last year by Montbellew, and the previous year county final or semi-final the previous year. But I think it was just our performances on those days. We didn't perform, and look at any given day, you go out, you can lose a game. But the last few years, we would feel certainly that we didn't perform on those days. And if you go out and play a game of football, you do your best and you give your best, and you don't win, fair enough. What you can do is shake hands with the other team. But the last few years, we would felt we didn't perform. Now, maybe, like, to be fair, maybe the opponents that we were playing were the reason for that as well. But you see Dylan McHugh there yesterday talking about hunger. Like, I remember Dylan the year after our last All Ireland success, and I just remember the devastation when we lost in him when we lost to Montbellew in that semi final. And like what it meant to him, and like he is the epitome of a Corofin footballer, and a guy that has such pride in playing for his club, and the way he has been performing, and he's a role model there. And look, particularly for him yesterday, going up and collecting Frank Fox for the first time. He's put so much in the last few years to get to the place where he is right now as a top level intercounty footballer and a top level club captain. Really pleased for him. And like, you could see him yesterday, like the hunger and drive that he had in going around the field. Like, he did a lot of dirty work and a lot of hard graft yesterday. Didn't probably get on the score sheet, or they do the flair stuff, but like his efforts yesterday, like he just provided real leadership. So he showed what hunger looks like when you don't win for a few years. And like, all those guys have huge they have huge pride in their performances, and they would, you speak to any of them individually, they would feel that the last few years, they just on the big day that things haven't ran for them, so they felt that this was a huge opportunity. And like if you put good players down, and we were rank outsiders when you look at the bookies, and that when you tell good players that they're not going to win a county final, it tends to bring out the best in them. So look at it, it worked in our favour yesterday.
Are you on the 12 county titles as well?
12, no. No, nobody, I wouldn't be counting, but look at delighted Sicey's up there with 13 now, and just particularly for him yesterday, like his performance I think he said on the radio yesterday that he's 39 on next Wednesday, and like his performance yesterday was super, and he showed real leadership up top as well. His first point from out under the stand there was just a beauty, and like he's another leader. He works he's a teacher in the local national school there, and kids just look up to him, and he gives great time away from the senior team with the kids there, and he's a real role model. You see the reaction with the kids afterwards, and like he's such an inspiration for players, and he doesn't even realize it, or for young players, or for young boys and girls, he doesn't even realize what he's doing. But just for him yesterday, particularly happy for him. He put in a great performance, and still going strong, and doesn't look like he has lost anything with his age at all.
You could see the emotion in him at full time when he goes down on his knees. Micheál Lundy's just above him, but I think everyone in Galway football circles is just delighted for him, considering what he's been through in the last year.
Yeah, he said he has had a tough few years, and he spoke about it afterwards, how grateful he is for the club, the way the club rallied around him and his family. But we owe him an awful lot as well for what he has done for us down through the years. And look, he's a great guy. He comes from a great family. They're loved in the community and in our club. And it was a lovely moment. I saw that picture with Lundy afterwards as well. And it's a huge emotion. Like football, and I remember it myself. Like football is such a huge part of your life, and it involves, like, your family are so invested in it, and they put in so much time. And Sicey has a beautiful young daughter there, and when he's gone playing football, somebody has to be taking care of that little girl. And like it's a real family effort to get Sicey to perform the way that he can perform. And I'm sure yesterday after the game it was very emotional for him. I'm sure there was such happy memories over the years at football games, and things are a little different now, and I'm sure it was an emotional moment for him. But you see Micheál, the whole squad acknowledged and realised what a moment it was for Sicey, and it was lovely to see. And you talk to any of the players, the admiration they have for him is huge, and we owe him an awful lot. So fair play to him.
If we're to look at the game, obviously full-time score there, Corofin won 11, Mike Cullen won 9. How did Corofin win Frank Fox this year and get to the county final and win it in your eyes?
Yesterday, their consistency down the whole year. And I heard Kevin Johnson speak afterwards that they treated every game with great importance. They haven't lost a game. I think it's 17 on the trot. They haven't lost a game, league or championship. And yesterday I thought there was a lot of variety in their game. They mixed it up. They dropped back at times. They moved the ball through the hands a lot. They ran, and they used the kick pass a lot too when it opened up. So I just thought yesterday that Mike Cullen, they were probably a little bit more one-dimensional. They had a running game. They had a running game throughout. Tried a few early kick passes into Desi, but that was covered off with Gavin covering, or Cahill covering Liam on Desi, and that didn't work out, and they just kind of reverted to the running game. But yesterday, Corofin varied their game. and Mike Cullen didn't have an answer for it. They tried a few high balls in, but I don't think they were direct. They weren't, or they were straight. They weren't diagonal. Silky was breaking them off. Desi and Cahill and Gavin were picking them up, or the other defenders were picking it up. So that wasn't working out. So look, I thought yesterday Corofin were the better team. Mike Cullen will have regrets, of course. They didn't perform to the levels that we know, and when that happens as a player, you're usually disappointed. But for Corofin, it was really Corofin's day. Kevin over the course of the year, probably more by necessity than he probably introduced an awful lot of young players because of the injuries that they had, and like it's like everything. Fortune favours the brave. He threw them in the county final and it worked. But they're fabulous footballers. But like because of the injuries he had to try these young guys. And just going through a few here, I just wrote them down. Dylan Canny injured, Ian Burke in France, Jason Linder travelling, Dylan Brady injured, Colin Brady just back from injury, Ronan Steede just back from injury, and then Mike Lundy, Mike Farrer, Martin Farrer, and then Dahi Burke hurling. So all those guys throughout the year had been unavailable. So Kevin had to bring in the likes of Brian Cogger, Patrick Egan, Tony Gill got a lot more game time. And Jack McCabe, of course, started in the corner. So and they took their opportunity and they grabbed it. And like Kevin awarded them with starts all the time. They had the jersey and they kept it, and the management trusted them to do the job, and they duly did. So that was it.
The young lads in particular, even yesterday, Brian Cogger did a lot of the dirty work. Patrick Egan was tremendous in midfield. Jack McCabe didn't contribute on the scoreboard, but got even a big turnover there in the first half, running back inside his own half. Are you surprised with how quickly these young fellas have transformed into senior footballers, or were these always someone who were going to be on your radar?
Well, they would have been earmarked from a long way out, that these boys were good footballers. But training every day, surrounding themselves with the likes of Sicey, Lundy, Mike Farrer, these guys, seeing what they do, it rubs off on you, and they trained and played to those high standards. And look, of course, it takes a certain mentality to come into that environment and just go with it. And they duly did. Like Jack McCabe there, I didn't contribute on the scoreboard, but I thought his work rate was excellent. And when he came off in the second half, I thought he had his work done. He had a super game, and I'd say Corofin management were delighted with Brian Cogger, another guy does an awful lot of hard graft, a lot of intercepts, a lot of tackles, gets tackles in and forces turnovers. Like he was super as well. And then Patrick Egan, like, it was really dynamic in midfield. Early doors, got caught in possession once or twice, but really roared into the game, and they got a fabulous score coming in along the inline, hand passing it over. So like all these guys, you couldn't be but impressed with the way they handled their first county final against a really strong Mike Cullen team. So as I said, like as a supporter, we were hoping, like obviously hoping for a good performance, but we were really pleasantly surprised.
The big one yesterday before throw-in, obviously there was the two late changes coming in, but Kieran Brady coming in. Obviously Dylan was playing midfield all year and he went back to wing back yesterday. Do you feel that's something that just seemed to work and it gave Corofin more going forward?
Yeah, it did. It worked yesterday. Kieran's a big guy. He's 6'4", 6'5", and he's a fabulous jumper. Two big men in midfield. Like around the middle of Peter Cook, McLaughlin, Tom Clark. Kieran was competing with them. My Cullen keeper was going long quite a bit, long out there, and Kieran was competing with it. And Corofin won a lot of breaks off Kieran. So look, it was a great move. And then like Dylan moving back, into the half back line. He was doing a lot of work, doing a lot of sweeping, tracking and tackling, and he was driving forward when he got the opportunity. So you can see where Corofin management were going with that introduction. So, and it worked out, and Kieran and Patrick, I know down through the years we would have been used to seeing Ronan Steede and Dahi Burke playing in the middle of the field, but this is a new combination, and they did really well yesterday.
There's a lot being made of modern football in the last few weeks, that it's boring or whatever. But the first half, this game of football, it was real end-to-end stuff. 7-6, a really enjoyable opening half of football here.
Yeah, they were matching each other score for score. There was a few passages of play that were poor, but it was only when I went out onto the pitch afterwards to meet some of the guys that I didn't really. The pitch was so dead. It was difficult to play football on it, but some of the score for score, the match score for score, I thought Corofin were getting the scores a little bit easier, but scores then Kieran and I kicked a fabulous score. Liam Silk kicked a lovely score on the turn when he received it. Stacey, as I mentioned, from the far side, Dylan Wall's first score off his left, and Tony score, and then on the opposite, Peter Cook kicked a fabulous score. McLaughlin kicked a long range point. Owen Gallagher was causing a little bit of damage running from deep and got 2, I think, maybe in the first half. So yeah, it was end to end, and there was great energy in it, high stakes as well, and a lot of heavy hitting and tackling, and it was enjoyable. I thought second half, obviously from a Corofin point of view, I thought we opened up a little bit more. We became a little bit braver, moved the ball a little bit quicker. Maybe in the first half, both teams were guilty of not moving the ball quick enough, and both teams were getting an opportunity to set up, and then you get into that passage of play where it's a possession based. So in the second half, I thought Corofin moved an awful lot quicker and by foot. And when Mike came in, he became a presence up. Mike Farrer became a presence up front. Lundy offered a little bit more as well, and Liam was bombing on, and I thought there was a lot of energy in Corofin in the second half. But yeah, for sure, it was into end, and there was some fantastic scores, and 11-1, 11-1-9. By the end, it wasn't bad considering the condition of the pitch.
Did Mike Cullen need to be more ahead at halftime?
Yeah, there was a big breeze there too. We went in ahead, I think, with 7-6.
Yes,
yeah. There was a big breeze there, and certainly I'd say it was something that concerned Mike Cullen, that they didn't go in ahead with that breeze, So I fancy Stacey to kick a few long rangers in the second half with that breeze. He kicked a lovely score from the sideline. But yeah, certainly if you would have, from my Cullen point of view, they would have hoped to have gone in a little bit further ahead. And I think after halftime, we got the first score after halftime, I think. So look, Corofin were in a great position at that stage.
Yeah, McLaughlin hits back shortly after halftime to make it 7-7 then, and it's deadlocked after 35 minutes with that. But with Mike Cullen, they needed to be ahead at halftime, but their conversion rate, I think it was 6 out of 6 in the first half as well for them.
Yeah, did they only have 2 wides in the game?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, so that was unusual, but they didn't get a lot of shots out. Desi, a few times when he did win the ball out in front, he did a few times look like he was going to get a shot off, but felt he was going to be blocked down, so he was turned back. But that was the high stakes of the game, that they didn't want to give away possession or drop a ball short, that they were keeping the ball a little bit more and trying to get a better bit of patience and wait their turn. But Mike Cullen, I thought they were a little bit blunt up front yesterday, and look at Sean Kelly's loss. It can't be understated. Mike Cullen's strong running game. They obviously missed him coming off the shoulder, and you can have a strong running game, but when you're running like that as well, like Sean Kelly knows how to time coming off the shoulder, see a gap and then go. You can be soloing up the field as far as sometimes I thought Moycullen were soloing up the field, running into trouble and just passing it off and then soloing again to see how far you could go. So they needed somebody that could penetrate, break a line and break into space. Owen Gallagher did it to a certain degree, but definitely, like the dynamic running of Sean Kelly was a huge loss. O'Reilly, Micheál O'Reilly, definitely has pace, and he did add a little bit, but I'd say Moycullen would have preferred they brought him on like shortly after half time. Usually he might come in when they're in the ascendancy and like try and finish off a game. So he came on when they were becoming under pressure. But look at Sean Kelly's, the way Moycullen played their game. Sean Kelly was a massive loss to that.
In that second half period, in the third quarter, Corofin take control. Tony Gill's goal is massive there. Gary Sice gets a free out near the sideline to push Corofin ahead 111-7.
Yeah.
What did Corofin do in that period to get on top, and what did Moycullen not do?
Yeah, well, Corofin didn't give Moycullen a chance to set up. I thought they added a whole lot of energy. Moycullen were going up the field, running into trouble. Corofin were turning them over, and they were breaking really hard. And like from the 36th to the 54th minute, Corofin scored 1-4 without reply. And that's where they won the championship. Gary scored 2 frees. Liam Silk scored a point. Tony Gill scored a goal. And that was the winner. They moved the ball really quickly, moved forward. They weren't giving Moycullen the chance to set. And reference Mike Farr already. Lundy, they added a lot to it. Quick hands. Dylan Wall, didn't mention him. Like every time he got the ball, like he asked questions of the defenders. He took them on. He was creating free opportunities. He was getting players booked because he was being fouled so hard. And he was a real dynamo yesterday, and he had a super game, but he caused Moycullen real problems. And I thought he was back to one of his best days yesterday, which was great to see. He has suffered a lot from injuries in the recent past, so it was great to see him back and performing at such a high level. But that's it. They just up the gear and moved the ball a lot quicker. And no plays, as I say, and they took their chances in that period of time. 1-4 without reply. So it was a great period in the game.
It's the threat now Corofin posed defensively when you look at the team of Liam Silk, Gavin Burke, Dylan McHugh and Kieran Malloy. The threat of all those players going forward.
Yeah, and when they're going forward, there's attackers that has to track them, and as a defender, you prefer to be up the field with your attacker beside you, and like they're a real threat going forward. And like Patrick Egan and Kieran Brady winning their duels at midfield or at least breaking even gives them opportunity to go forward. And look, they're super defenders. They're great attacking. They're a great attacking threat as well. So they will pose problems for any attack. Desi was chasing Liam there yesterday, trying to pass him off, and the guy he was passing him off there was under pressure with somebody else, so it was difficult for him. But yeah, for sure, it's a real threat going forward for Corofin. But as they go forward, other teams will try and negate that.
With Moycullen, they obviously came back into that game. They did hit 1-2. Johnny Maloney gets the goal towards the end, but it's ultimately too late for Moycullen. Could you see trademarks of a Moycullen team that have maybe just been on the road for a while coming towards the end of that game?
Yeah, like in the last 12 minutes, they outscored Corofin 1-2. Maybe Corofin were trying to shut down shop at that stage, but I just thought they were pretty blunt yesterday up front. A lot of the big name players didn't fire. They were running into trouble, running out of ideas, and that's credit to Corofin's defense as well. But running into traffic, getting turned over, it was adding petrol to to Corofin's fire, and they were just breaking so hard, and they were getting caught at the back. But yeah, look, they've been on the road. Corofin have had that as well. They've been on the road, and it takes its toll. And it's only when you're in the heat of battle that you could feel very good before a game, and at a stage during the game, you can suddenly become a tired team. And
Is
you
that
meet a
more
team.
mentally?
It probably is, yeah. Like all those guys are flying fit, so they're absolutely flying fit. But it's mental fatigue, really, to be honest with you. And then you're meeting a team like Corofin yesterday that had just savage hunger to get Frank Fox back, and maybe a little bit of complacency set in. I don't know, but Cullen have added so much to the championship over the last few years, and their performance in the All Ireland Club semi-final last year against Glen, who went on and pushed Kilmacud so hard, it was brilliant. Winning. They were going for 3 out of 4, 3 championships in 4 if they had won yesterday. Like, it's some achievement for a club who only won their first in 2020. So look, they're going to be back again. This is going to hurt them. They're all big players. This is going to hurt them a lot. And when that happens, there's only one answer for it, and well that they're going to regroup and come back and have an almighty cut at it again next year. And maybe it's a break that those guys need. Picking up little niggles. You see Sean there; he gets an opportunity to rest up and sort out whatever injuries he has, and other players as well. So yeah, they're not going anywhere. But for yesterday, look, they just looked a little bit stale, and that happens. That's they're only human. This is a hobby at the end of the day, So, but I've no doubt they'll be back.
From their own perspective, the biggest positives, performance-wise, probably came from Owen Gallagher, Peter Cook, and James McLaughlin.
Yeah, James McLaughlin kicked 2 cracking points. Peter Cook really brought the game to Corofin at certain times. Kicked a lovely point, or kicked 2 points maybe. Yeah, kicked 2 lovely points. And then Owen Gallagher, I thought Owen Gallagher did cause us problems. He was dropping deep and running hard coming through, and he was really asking questions of the Corofin defenders. He was taking them on, and got 2 points yesterday. I thought his second point, he got by Gavin Burke. It looked at one stage it had opened up for him, and maybe if he took it on a little bit more, that might have been a goal chance. But yeah, he was a real threat yesterday. But those 3 guys performed well. But you need a lot more than that to win a championship. But they worked really hard yesterday.
I know we've referenced Sice and his performances yesterday, but what's keeping him going still at this level, do you feel?
Well, he's a fantastic footballer. He loves playing football. There's a real drive in him. He loves success, and being part of that squad. And it is it's when you're part of something like that, it's a real family, and there's a togetherness in it, and you're going through the trenches together, and there's a camaraderie in it. And but he's a winner, and he's competitive, and he wants to push himself. And I'm talking about him there, but there are other guys as well. Dylan McHugh I would put in the same bracket as well. But they want to push themselves as far as they can. Like in Gary, coming to the latter stages of his career, still has, from what I can see, still has the same drive as he had in his 20s. And yeah, but he the real competitive nature in him will drive him forward, and his love for the club as well. And I spoke about it earlier on. It's not just when he's wearing that yellow jersey on the football field. It's the stuff he does in the schools and with the underage, and turning up on the Saturday mornings, and you can see how the kids have great admiration for him, and he always gives them time. So it's a whole package with the likes of him. But to put it in one, he's a competitor, and he wants to win, and he likes to win, and that's what drives him.
Even I know throughout a year during the club championship, we've referenced the Corofin panel, but it's hard not to when you look at the players that come on yesterday. Lundy, Mike Farrer, Martin Farrer, these are all Ireland winners. But like, how valuable is that going to still be like throughout the year? Because it already has been, but how's it going to be even more valuable when you're looking at these players coming on?
It's huge, and look, a lot of the time, that's the difference between say ordinary club teams and the teams that are competing at a high level is their strength and depth. Like other clubs, have their 15 and they'll go as hard as they can for as long as they can, and okay, maybe the substitutes coming in are of a lesser quality, but when you have, and I'm not only talking about Corofin, there are a load of other clubs that have that luxury as well, where you can have 15 that they will empty the tank, and then you have five more guys that are going to come in, and the performance levels won't dip. That's in my opinion is the difference between the teams that win what they win, and the teams that don't. And my Cullen have had that. Montbellew in the past have had that. Corofin, Kilmacud, Kilcoo, all these big clubs, so it's huge, and it's what wins games. And like you talk about Mike Farrer and Martin and Mike, like we had Colin Brady on the bench yesterday that didn't get game time. Ronan Steede didn't get game time. Dylan Canny is injured, as I referenced already. So those guys are absolutely chomping at the bit to get back in. And in fairness, to credit to the likes of the young guys, Cogger, Egan, Jack McCabe, Tony Gill, those guys are performing under pressure because they know that there's guys behind them looking to get their place, and Kevin trusts them as well. So it's what builds success, is when you have competition at training where nobody is sitting on their laurel, sitting on their ass thinking that I have this position and nobody else is going to get it. You have to keep performing, and that's what good teams do.
There was obviously records broke yesterday when Gary Size picked up his 13th county title. But even for Kevin Johnson yesterday, it's three county titles now in three different counties. And this wasn't a very easy job to come into either.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. After such a big manager like Kevin O'Brien, it wasn't. And that team was evolving, and players dropped out and whatnot. And I suppose there was an element of rebuilding to do, but he did it. And he referenced after the game, it was a question that was posed to him that this is his third championship in three counties, but he put it back on the teams and players that he was managing, and that he was just basically facilitating that. So yeah, look, it's a great achievement. Look, it's fabulous, but the modesty in him, he put it back on the players again. But it wasn't a difficult job, and it isn't a difficult job to do what he's doing. And he's had, and he also referenced it in his interview. He mentioned Mike Comer, Terry Payne, and Brian Silk, and all the other guys in the background that are helping him get this team to where they got to and where they want to go. So yeah, he's doing a great job considering.
Now with this Corofin team, they obviously move forward into the Connacht series. But just on Corofin and Mike Cullen, is there any players yesterday you were thinking that haven't been involved with Galway that could add something in 2024 from either two sides?
Well, you're looking at the younger guys. They're probably still young, but definitely Pádraig will know their names now. At least he'll be certainly keeping an eye on them. Tony got 1-1. No, maybe Dylan Wall. Like he's a really dynamic footballer. Injuries have come against him in the past. Liam, obviously, big loss in the last 2 years. Yeah, the last year he was massive loss. He's certainly going to come roaring back into it. Dylan, Gavin had a great game yesterday. Gavin Burke, maybe he's something that somebody that Pádraig might consider. Kieran Brady. Yeah, there's plenty of guys there, and certainly I think from a Mike Cullen point of view, I think there's 8 or 9 guys in there already. So I saw the Cox came on as a sub there yesterday for Mike Cullen. He was the minor from 2 years ago. Yeah, so he possibly could be somebody in the future as well. So certainly there was plenty of talent on show, and I'm sure Pádraig will take notice.
So with Corofin, they play the winners now of Ballina and Fulham Irish on the 19th of November, and that's going to be a home game, and more than likely in Tune Stadium, you'd imagine. Not to get Corofin's supporters' hopes up, but I'm sure there's a giddiness now today after it kind of settles down. But when you look at this route at the minute, there is serious possibility for this side to go on a run.
Yeah, and there is for Ballina and Bridget's and Coolera, Strandhill and Mohill as well, so they all have don't worry, they all have the same ambitions, so they do, Ballina will come down to Tuam or Pierce Stadium or wherever it is, and they will be in a, well, that's it to beat Fulham Irish, but you might expect that, but they will come down after a poor Mayo County final. You can certainly, Corofin were written off yesterday. You can guarantee that Ballina will be written off coming down to Tuam, and what a perfect position they will be in coming down. Low expectation, and they're good footballers. I've seen them. They've plenty of good footballers on show. But yeah, look at Bridget's, Coolera, and Mohill will all be thinking the same thing. But look at the other side, Ulster and Leinster, I think, is the far side, and Connacht and Munster this side. So look, somebody's going to win it. There's only one team that can do it. So they'll all be setting their sights in it. But I'd say from a Corofin point of view, they will be delighted with what happened yesterday. There'll obviously be certain things too that they won't be happy with. Maybe the last few minutes, closing out games, might become a little bit of a trend that we didn't score in the last 12 minutes and we conceded 1-2. We conceded a few late goals against Milltown as well. So, and I think we didn't, with Killannon, we might have scored or conceded a late goal as well. So it's definitely something that I'd say the management will be looking at to improve. But look, that's the beauty of it, there's always something to try and improve on, but they will get a massive test in 2 weeks' time against Ballina, who have a lot of high quality players.
The crack's obviously flowing now for the players and managers. You have your Monday clubs now with the club championships. They seem to be the biggest day of them all. But do you miss that?
You would, of course, yeah, sure. It was great. It was great crack, but as I said, my time is gone. I'm getting old. I can't do that Monday, the Monday session. I was there last night, and I can feel it today. So, but it's great. And it's great. It's great for bonding, and it's amazing what a win can do, and it can put confidence into players, and teams become tighter, and today they'll have a great crack and they'll be together. And last night was lovely in Balclare and Corofin. The supporters were there, but today it'll be mainly themselves, and they'll probably go over a rerun of the game and have a few drinks and have the crack. And it definitely tightens the group an awful lot. The younger players will become more familiar with the older players, because a lot of the time it's just in the setting of training, and that can be very serious at times. So they might see a different side to the older guys as well. And so, yeah, look, they're super days, and it's certainly, from my point of view in the past, the days that you don't forget, and they're lovely memories. But look, they will certainly enjoy today. I'd say the management won't let them enjoy too much longer than that. I'd say they'll be back quick enough to the coalface. But yeah, these days are super. And look, 4 years, I know clubs, it's a long period, the way Corofin have been in the last few years, and just to be underdogs going in and win it the way they did, I'm sure it makes it a little bit sweeter.
Just then, the senior relegation was played over the weekend. The biggest shock came to a lot of people, the St. Michael's going down to intermediate football for 2024 over the weekend.
Yeah, no, if it wasn't St. Michael's, it was going to be Claregalway, and Claregalway, that would be a shock as well, because Claregalway have got to county semi-final 2 years ago. They ran Corofin pretty close, so it's a situation where both clubs didn't have to be, in my opinion, they're two good clubs, two strong senior teams. They found them in that situation, and one of them was going to go down. Sometimes you're in these games. If you're in these games, look, you haven't performed, and like two going down this year is tough as well. And Michael's is a big team going down, and they will be smarting over that. And the only way for them to do now is go at it and bounce back again next year, like what Monivea have done. It's the only way, but they are good enough. But it can go either way. You can feel sorry for yourself, and the team can fall apart and disintegrate, or it can rally the troops, and it can galvanize the team and say, right, we're going to dig in, we're going to get back to where we put ourselves in this situation, we get ourselves out of it again. So it all depends on the character of the team, but certainly they had some good results in the championship. They drew with Tuam in Ballinasloe, I think.
Yeah, drew with Tuam and Betdomore in the first game.
Yeah, and Betdomore, yeah, and I think they lost to Cardiff Strand in the group games. I think, or did they? No, but they're a very good team that have found themselves in that situation, and they need to bounce back from that now.
With that, it's nearly where I was going to bring in a point. It's hard not to reference, but Nivan Electramore have survived. Massive credit there to Aidan Fahy and his management team. It's a huge result for them to stay up, considering they're in. If they stay up with Claregalway on Spithead, go down with Michaels. When you're seeing all these past teammates all in management now, what's that like?
It's sure, it's great. It makes things a lot more interesting, and you're following teams and you're wondering how things are going, and you just different styles and different systems, and you're seeing what guys are doing. But sure, it's great. It adds a bit of spice. Things move on. Football evolves. Lads come and go, and sure, it's great to see all these personalities on the sideline and looking after teams, and it definitely adds a little bit of spice to it.
What was said in the WhatsApp after Joe Kenny decided to go to Mayo?
We're not talking to him, so we're not. we, yeah, yeah. No, look, Joe is a great guy, and he'll be totally fine. He's a great coach, and Mayo are very lucky to have him.
With that, on the intermediate final over the weekend, Monivea-Abbey 14, Kilconnelly 11. Mike Farrer must be one of the busiest men now at this time of year, considering still playing with Corofin seniors and coaching this Monivea-Abbey team.
Yeah, in fairness, it's a great achievement, and I've seen like the work he's done. I heard Francis Roach speak on as well, but Mike, I've no doubt, threw everything into that setup up in Monivea. And like I talking to some of the players, they're being so happy with what he has done up there. The way they played football, the trainings that they've had, it's been great, and he deserves huge credit. And then to come back the next day and play such a pivotal role in a county senior final, it's a fair old feat. So yeah, he's going to be busy. So yes, he's going to be a busy few weeks. Monivea have Kilmina coming up in probably maybe the same weekend as Ballina. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Ballina game, Mike will be asking questions of management to try and get his start there as well. So he's certainly a busy time ahead. But no better man. Great football man.
Coaching doesn't come as a surprise to you that he's gone into this early, though.
No, not at all. He's a classy footballer. Has been exposed to high level coaching for the last number of years, or as long as he's been playing. And like he's a huge character, a huge presence. I witnessed him in the dressing room when I was playing. He was our captain in 15, I think. He was our captain in 2015 when we won that All-Ireland club final against Shockneil. Massive character. So I'm not a bit surprised. And just, his style of play, if he gets Monivea playing, and he seems to have done so, the way he wants to play football, I'd imagine training sessions are hugely enjoyable up there. And, they did really well on Saturday. Were really good in the semi-final against Carter. And I saw some of the games. I didn't see the Saturday game. But, from all accounts and from what I heard about it since, I think Mike's stamp was on Monivea all the way through.
Even talking to Bunter Roach during the week in the lead up to the game, it was very interesting. He was put on the committee to pick the manager. There was 3 names put forward. They all pulled out, and they asked him to take the job. And he said he wasn't taking it.
He was put on the committee to pick a manager. He picked himself. But no, I experienced Francis with Tune Cartoon Ladies maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Francis was manager and I was coach, and it was the most enjoyable year I had. It was brilliant. But I saw what he did in that scene, and I can only imagine he was the same way this year. He would have left the coaching to Mike. Mike would have had autonomy in that. But he is a brilliant manager. He's a great man to get everyone together. And I saw him at that period with the ladies team, that to get everyone together, get everyone buying in, going in the one direction. Like he will give everyone a fair crack at the whip. And if you do your stuff for him, he will reward you every time. And I'm not a bit surprised. I'm not a bit surprised by that combination that they have ended up where they are. He would be a brilliant manager. And he had all those guys. And for what I've heard from people there and people involved, that he had all those guys going in the one direction. And I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted for Mike.
As well, he was talking in the interview after the game. He said they have 40 players training, which is massive for an intermediate club. But this is a huge achievement for Monivea-Abbey to go straight back up, and considering a setback of losing Killian McDade in that semi-final, but it didn't seem to faze them. And even you could hear Bunt talking after the game, and he said, we wanted to do this for Killian.
Yeah, and sometimes, and I know it didn't work out for my Cullen yesterday, but sometimes when you lose a big player like that, it can galvanize the team. It can add another few percent to players, to the lesser players in the team. Add another few percent to that, and you may get a better performance. It can happen, and my Cullen were probably. Or not Monivea were probably less predictable because Killian wasn't playing. Because you would have a tendency when the likes of Killian, such a fantastic footballer, you may try and play through him all the time. Killian wasn't there, so they had to do other stuff and take other avenues to try and get the win. And by the sounds of it, that possibly what happened on Sunday. They really upped the gear. And certainly, and that goes back to my point about Francis. He was able, like the character in the team. I think they went 2 points down in the first half, and again went 2 points down shortly after half time, and responded really, really well. And I think they won the last 20 minutes. The 9-4, I think they scored in the last 20 minutes. They won that last 20 minutes.
3 points in 3 minutes was huge in the second half.
So, and I heard Killian talking afterwards, and I heard Glenn Kelly talking afterwards, and they all referenced Francis and his backroom team and what they had done. And to get 40 lads to turn up for sessions every night is unbelievable, you know, and I can guarantee you that was Francis Roach after them to get them there every time. So, and if you weren't there, you better have a good excuse, you know. But he rewards commitments, and they would have had it wasn't all. I bet you it wasn't all hard graft every night up in Monivea. They would have had a lot of enjoyment up there as well. So yeah, look at hopefully now they can push on in the Connacht series.
It always felt like in this game it was going to go a long way stopping Paul Mannion and David Prendergast. They were kind of the Kilconnelly chief scorers all the way throughout the championship. Fionn Garvey limited Mannion to 1 point from play. Prendergast got 2 from play. Like that was ultimately the difference of them getting over the line.
Yeah, for sure. Like when Mannion kicked 7 points, 6 frees, one from play, when he is limited to that. Like you could go a long way to win an intermediate final. He's a fantastic footballer, and you know was a massive threat to Kilconnelly. So when they have a marker that can limit that, you have a great chance. And then the other side, you have Kelly, Glenn Kelly to kick 7 points. You know, so yeah, so like that. I heard him interviewed afterwards as well. You know, so maybe 4 frees, 3 from play, and like in that say clutch few minutes in the second half, kicked 3 in a row, I think. So like he was fantastic as well. But that last 20 minutes really won the game for Monivea. They powered on after going like 7-5 after half time. You'd say, oh, this game is going away from you, and then you have the likes of, I think, Trevor Mullins catching 2 or 3 high balls in the middle of the field. Had a good duel with Niall Daly, and like they're inspirational things when you can win primary possession in the middle of the field and get on top. So they have a great opportunity. You know, look, I heard Francis Roach say afterwards they're the first team to go down and rebound straight back up. He went digging for that one, and you know they have a great chance. They have a great chance now. They'll coast back into senior again, and they'll settle there. They'll settle in senior, and you know they have a great opportunity now to push on as long as they stay focused on the job and keep working hard.
There's enough quality there, though, isn't there? When you look at Garvey, Mullery, Trevor Mullins, Glenn Kelly 7, Lee Kenny 2 points, Philip Muldowney, Niall Mannion, and it's still such a young team in Monivea as well.
Yeah, and they were unlucky last year. You know, lost a lot of games by a point. You know, in the senior. So sometimes when you go down, it doesn't make you a bad team. And so they would have been exposed to senior football. A lot of them. Now I know he introduced a few, but they would have great exposure at senior football. Kilmina are coming up from the other way. They have come from junior to intermediate, and obviously now are going into senior. So even from that point of view, the standard of football that Monivea would have been exposed to in the last year or two compared to Kilmina will give them a great opportunity. But you know, it's a game of football at the end of the day, and they still have to do it. It's at home, which is great, rather than going up to Mayo. But it'll be a big test now. Jack Carney is a big player for them, but like if they keep their eyes on the prize and keep working hard, I give them a great chance.
Huge disappointment then for Kilconnelly, like second final in a row to come up short.
Yeah, it really is. Like it's tough on them. They're pushing now for the last 2 years and have been so close. And you know, at certain stages in the game last Sunday, it looked like that the game was going their way, but they just lost their way a little bit. So it is hard, and to keep going back to the well and trying to do it again. You have to start at the bottom of the ladder again, and you're meeting the likes of Michaels and Spittle coming back down, who will have certainly determination to bounce back up again. So you know, when you get to these finals, you really, whatever way possible, you really have to win them. And you know, a lot of time you speak about performance, but definitely at the intermediate level, you just need to get the win. And they have been very unlucky in the last 2 years, and I'm sure they're bitterly disappointed. But what do? You have to get back on the horse and go again, and try and reinvent themselves and do something different. And maybe if they can introduce a few younger players, and go again, that's it.
Yeah, no other option really for them. And
Yeah.
as we mentioned, Monivea-Abbey played Kilmina or Anaduff from Leitrim in the Connacht semi-final. A big win for Menlaw yesterday, beating Trimstairs 12-7. They play St. Michael's or Roscommon this weekend. But that's all we do have time for on today's podcast. Thanks a million to Kieran for coming on.